Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Are we okay? Are we okay? Can somebody just send me a message somewhere to say that we're okay? Righto, we there. We started. Hi guys, it's me again. Hi guys, it's me, Mushfika Botha, Head of Research and Consumer Education at National Debt Advisors. I'm so sorry that we were late. We had some technical difficulties. Technology is not my friend. Hopefully we'll keep, we won't have any more problems as we go along. Look, as you all know, my name is Mushfika Botha, Head of Research and Consumer Education at National Debt Advisors. I wasn't going to touch on the special COVID-19 social distress grant again. But since government changed things, let's be clear, government changed things from what they were only last week. So I'm going to have to go over a few things. I'm going to give you all the application details again, but let's just clear up a few things. Of the 91,000 people who had applied on the WhatsApp line, 11,000 people were disqualified. Of the 250,000 people who had applied via email, 125,000 people were disqualified. Now, they were disqualified because it was picked up that they are earning some sort of income somewhere along the line. So whether you're earning money through work, a grant, UIF, don't apply, they can kick you out. Here again, I'm giving you the criteria again for the 350 COVID-19 social distress grant. Any unemployed South African older than 18 must not be a recipient of any other grants, including old age, child support, or disability grants. Applicants should not be earning any sort of income. Recipients of NSFAS don't qualify, and prisoners and other beneficiaries of any other state-funded welfare do not qualify. Let me just give you the new WhatsApp number, because the WhatsApp number has changed from 0860 0123456. That's the number that government has been giving all the time. It has now changed to 082 0468 553. We'll put it in the comments. We're going to put it in the comments, 082 0468 553. The email address remains the same, srd@sassa.gov.za. I don't know if you can see it behind me on the board here, but it is here. But again, we will put it in the comments. Applicants have also been urged to apply via SMS. *134 *7737 #. Something that I personally tested that worked and that got back to me immediately. There is a page, a link to a page, and Megan from the Daily Voice will put it up for you in the comment section. The page is srd.sassa.gov.za/SC/auth. Please, if you go to the comment section here today, you're going to see it there. Go there, click on that link. I tested it personally. You go there, it will ask you to enter your cell phone number. No spaces and countries, nothing like that. You just enter your cell phone number. Then it sends a 6-digit code to your phone. That phone, you then enter on the next, that PIN, you then enter on the next line, and it gives you a form. So please go to that link. That link is quite important, and I see that it works. It's the only thing that has worked for me with SASSA, because I've tried everything. This works. It comes back to you. You get your notification and you can do that. Okay, something that we need to get in, we need to know is that SASSA has warned that there will be no back pay if you register late. You must register in May to get May's benefits. If you register in June, you won't get May's money. So please don't register late. What you need, points to remember, you need proof of address, but you don't need proof of address. You don't need to give them a proof of address. You need to give them an address, an active bank account. Please don't give them a bank account that doesn't work. Give them bank details of a bank account that works. If you don't have a bank account, you can use your mobile phone, and payment can be done via e-wallet with FNB or cash send with ABSA. You can just tell them what bank or ATM is closest to you, and they will do that for you. If your application is rejected, please know that it could be due to a recently changed telephone number. Now, if you have in the past given a different telephone number to a government system, it may now kick out your application on this new number. Just watch out for that. Something that I needed to remember is that SASSA offices are now open. SASSA offices are open. But Monday and Tuesday, staff works on elderly applicants for social grants, and Wednesday and Thursday is child support grants and foster care grants. So you can't just go in any day for anything. Let's just make that clear again. Monday and Tuesday, old age grants. Wednesday and Thursday, child support grants and foster care grants. SASSA has plans for store vouchers, but they are not available yet. So let's just leave it at that. If people have been sending me messages, are they store vouchers? Are they store vouchers? Are they store vouchers? They've got plans for it, but it's not available yet. If I can also just let you know that something that's been coming through a lot has been the question of school fees. If you are watching this and you know of anybody else who has children at school that is worried about their school fees during lockdown and they're not able to pay it, I ask you to please share this video so that more people can get this information. Very few households in South Africa have remained unaffected by COVID-19, and there's a lot of people who are questioning the payment of fees when their children are not even at school. The last time children were at school were about 2 months, sometimes up to 2 months ago. So a lot of people are questioning, should we pay school fees while our children are not at school? Believe me when I say, I don't think these people are questioning the school fees that must be paid. They are only asking because they can no longer literally afford to pay it. People's salaries have been affected. People's monies, people's income have been affected. I genuinely don't believe people are saying, oh, okay, I don't want to pay school fees. I don't want the teachers to be paid. Because I think everybody has been affected. You not paying school fees has a disastrous rippling effect, because that could see over 100,000 SGB posts from teachers to personnel on the school being lost. Yes, teachers employed by the Department of Education are being paid in full while they are at home, but not teachers in governing body posts. The school fees go for those posts, for those personnel on school who get paid by the SGB. Okay, if there's something that I can also tell you, is that in terms of Section 40 of the Schools Act, parents of learners of public schools are liable for school fees, but they are also eligible for an exemption of payment if you are unable to pay. And sadly, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people are not aware that they can get an exemption of their school fees. The exemption may be full or it may be partial, depending on whether you've had a reduction in salary or whether your salary is completely gone. So the school cannot refuse your request to get an application form for the exemption of school fees. Let's be clear on that. It cannot refuse it. And contrary to what a lot of school administrators tell you, and I have come across this on many occasions and it makes me angry, you can apply for an exemption at any time during the year. You don't have to wait until the beginning of the year. You can go to that school anytime your circumstances have changed. Anytime your circumstances have changed, get an exemption form, application, fill it in, take it back, and it will be reviewed by the SGB and the department. With regards to the period of lockdown, Brian Schroeder from the Western Cape Education Department said in a statement, and I'm reading it to you, "We are aware that many families will suffer income losses during this period and remind them that there is an option to apply for fee exemptions when schools return." So I'm advising you to apply for an exemption of school fees if your situation has changed and you can no longer afford your school fees. It's your right. You're going to be asked for documentation. You're going to be asked for affidavits. You're going to be asked for proof that your situation has changed. Get all that in order, but it is your right. It is your child's right. There are different types of school fees. You get an automatic exemption, which is for orphans, pupils with foster parents, pupils whose parents receive a social grant in their name. Example, if you receive a child support grant, that's an automatic exemption of school fees. You get full exemption of school fees if the school fees of any one child or your children together, let's be clear, is 10% or more of the total income in your house. You will be entitled to a full exemption and you will not have to pay school fees. Partial exemption, parents can apply for a partial exemption if the fees represent between 2 and 10% of the annual salary. Conditional exemption, that takes into consideration circumstances which are beyond parents' control, which like COVID-19 and the lockdown is now. And you can't get an exemption. There's no exemption if the combined gross income of both parents is more than 30 times the yearly school fees. If I can also just ask you to say, guys, send in your questions, send in your comments. There is a 250 Rand cash prize. We're going to name the person today who wins the cash prize. Best comment, best question, please send it in. Can I just also make a point of saying, I really advise you, make a copy of this application. Spend the money, spend the extra money, but make a copy of your application for an exemption of school fees to the school governing body. If anything goes missing, anything doesn't go through, you've got a copy, and make somebody sign and stamp that one on the date that you were there. One thing that I have to say, and I need people to listen to this. Section 41 of the Schools Act clearly states that a school may not withhold a learner's report or a transfer certificate because the parent cannot afford to pay school fees. I'm going to say this louder for those in the back. I'm going to say this louder for the people who get turned away by administrators at schools. I'm going to say this louder for the children who are embarrassed by schools who don't follow this law. I'm going to say this louder so that everybody knows what their rights are with regards to this. A school may not withhold a learner's report or a transfer certificate because the parent cannot afford to pay school fees. A public school may not withhold a learner's report or transfer certificate because the parent cannot afford to pay the school fees. Not before COVID-19, not during COVID-19, and not after COVID-19. They may not withhold your child's report. They may not withhold your child's school certificate. They may not tell your child that they can't partake in anything happening at school. That is illegal. They may not do that. Parents who have children registered at private schools have different contracts and payment schedules with those schools, and those parents are struggling are encouraged to approach the school, and the school will obviously look at it on a case-by-case basis. Personally, I encourage all parents, if you can pay the school fees, do so. That could just mean that someone in an SGB position gets to put bread on the table for their family. So if you can, I'd really encourage you to pay the school fees. But if you can't and your circumstances have changed, please make use of applying for the exemption of school fees. Something that also need to, I'm just going to repeat something Natalie Arensa has asked. Can you just repeat on the school fees being more than 30 times? I didn't get that, please. Natalie, I'm going to just read this to you again. A full exemption of school fees is with 10% or more of your total income. If the school fees is 10% or more of the total income of your household, you're entitled to a full exemption and you will not have to pay school fees. A partial exemption is if the fees represent between 2% and 10% of that income. A conditional exemption is when you apply for it because your circumstances have changed. No exemption. You cannot get an exemption if the combined annual gross income of both parents is more than 30 times the yearly school fees per learner. You can also get all this information in the comment section of the Daily Voice, and you can also go to my page, National Debt Advisors. You can also go to www.nationaldebtadvisors.co.za. All this information is there in the blog section as well. Something that we need to make clear is that single parents, in a Supreme Court of Appeal judgment, single parents no longer need their ex-spouses to qualify for school fees exemption for children who they have custody of. This has happened a lot before. Mothers have custody of the children. For some reason, the fathers are not a part of their lives. The fathers are not contributing. They don't know where the father is. For whatever reason, schools used to tell the single mothers, you can't apply for an exemption because we need the father's detail. No. A Supreme Court of Appeal in 2017 made it clear that in the circumstance where one parent has refused or even just failed to provide their income details, public schools shall grant a conditional fee exemption to the parent who has custody of the child, taking that parent's income into regard. So if you can understand that, please, I need you to know that if you're a single parent and you don't have the details of your ex-spouse, your ex-partner, your child's biological mother or father, if you're a single parent, you are allowed to apply on your own. And just so you know, I am choosing my winner, Natalie Athelia Morris. I really love your comment. It makes everything worthwhile. It says, thank you for your clarity on your post of exemption of school fees. I'm really feeling empowered as I'm a social grant recipient in the high school of my daughter attends me. Told I must apply for the school fee exemption with all the supporting documents. Thank you so much, Natalie Athelia Morris. We'll get somebody to contact you soon. Quickly, before we go into anything else, school fees, I'm going to mention it again because I feel I have to. A public school may not withhold a learner's report or transfer certificate because the parent cannot afford to pay school fees. You need to know that that is your right. That is your child's right. And if a school argues with you on that, you need to take it up with the Department of Education. You need to go and report that school that withholds your child's report because you couldn't pay school fees. You need to go and report that school that says your child cannot get their transfer certificate because the school fees have not been paid. But I'm also expecting that you would have made application for an exemption of the school fees as well if you can't afford to pay it. Nonetheless, they may not withhold your child's report. Questions that have come through always for me is on this thing of old debt. Now, whilst debt collectors haven't technically been allowed to work in level 5, level 4 have seen debt collectors come back, and debt collectors are actually working from home. When it comes to debt collection, we need to make it clear. You are not liable for prescribed debt. Prescribed debt, another word for prescribed debt is old debt. Old debt. Now I'm going to start off this with a waiver by saying I'm not telling you not to pay your debt. Please, let's not get this clear and say, oh, the lady that was on the Daily Voice video said I'm not supposed to, so I'm not going to. Why I'm touching on this subject is that lots of people are struggling now. People are struggling to pay their current debt. So if you are struggling to pay the current debt, I don't think it's fair that debt collectors should be putting pressure on you to pay old debt that by law you're not even legally supposed to be paying. If you didn't know that you don't have to pay your old debt, then I don't blame you. Most South Africans don't know their rights when it comes to debt. What is old debt? The correct financial term for old debt is prescribed debt, and debt is deemed prescribed when? Please just take note of when debt is deemed to be prescribed. You have not acknowledged that debt, either verbally or in writing in the past 3 years. You have not promised to pay or made a payment on that debt, even in the smallest amount, towards this debt in the last 3 years. and your creditor has not taken legal action against you for this debt within the last 3 years. Which debts can prescribe? Store and retail accounts, cell phone accounts, credit cards, personal loans, gym memberships, monies owing on vehicle finance are all debts which prescribe after 3 years. And if you have not made a payment on this account in the last 3 years and no legal action has been taken against you by the creditor in the last 3 years, then according to the law of this land, that debt is prescribed. However, home loans, court-ordered judgments, SARS taxes, traffic fines, TV licenses, and municipal accounts don't fall under that 3-year prescribed debt. They only prescribe after 30 years. But I need to make this clear. We can't even keep up with our current debt. So rather pay what you must on your active debt instead of spending more money to pay old debt. In 2015, amendments to the National Credit Act made it unlawful for any credit provider to sell, credit provider or debt collector, to sell or try and collect payment on old debt. This has not stopped debt collectors from calling people from morning till night for a payment on a gym contract from 2006 or a credit card from 2012. Debt collectors are unrelenting in their drive to collect payment on old debt. They are unrelenting. They will phone you and say to you, if you don't make a payment, we're going to blacklist you. If you don't make this payment, we are going to take legal action against you. If you don't pay us, most debt collectors even say things like, if just pay a 20 Rand or 50 Rand on this old debt and legal action will be stopped. Do not fall prey to this. Don't fall prey to this. When you acknowledge that old debt, when you buckle under that pressure, you say, you know what, I'm tired of you people calling. I'm going to pay you the 50 Rand. Then you revoke your prescription and you revive that entire debt. Debt collectors are not going to tell you. That's the loophole. Debt collectors are not going to tell you that the debt is prescribed. So it's up to you. But it's also not your responsibility to prove that you don't owe the money. If you say to them, this debt is prescribed, I have not made payment on this debt in the last 3 years and legal action hasn't been taken, that debt is prescribed. It is up to them to show that it's not. Ask them for a full statement of your account. Tell them to show you where you have paid in the last 3 years. They must show you from your bank account to their bank account or a cash payment with your name on the slip, anywhere that you have paid them. You've paid this debt in the last 3 years. If they can show you that, yes, then your debt is not prescribed. But if they can't show you that, then you inform them that debt is prescribed and tell them to stop harassing you. And if they continue to harass you, then you report them to the Debt Collectors Council. I would also suggest that you get an email address and write out all of these things, type out all of these things so that you've got a record of it where you tell them, according to this conversation that we had today, this account from 2006, 2010, 2000, whenever your date of today, 3 years back, is prescribed according to the Prescription Act of 1969, Section 10.1a, the debt is prescribed. Okay, if your debt is not prescribed, if they can show you that, hey, you've paid in the last 3 years, then do the right thing and pay the debt if you can afford to do so. Or visit a debt counselor if you can't afford your monthly repayments. Let your debt counselor try and deal with him. But know that old debt, any debt from today, the 14th of May, 3 years back, so the 14th of May 2017, if you get to the 14th of May 2017, any time before that, If the last payment you made was any time before that the debt is prescribed, again, I say, please don't take this in the wrong way. Please don't look at this as a blanket thing and me telling you to go against every rule and everything that is morally correct and saying that you mustn't pay this debt. What I am saying is that if you cannot afford to buy food, if you can't afford electricity, if you can't afford your current repayments, if you're struggling right now to live, then don't pay debt which you technically don't have to. Another point to note before we end is that prescribed debt may not reflect on your credit report. It must be written off by your credit provider and removed from your credit profile. So all these people that phone you and say, "Oh no, we're going to put you on, we're going to blacklist you." First of all, they can't blacklist you. Secondly, if your name is there because of old debt, it's got to be removed. You're entitled to a free credit report from every credit bureau once a year. There are about 4 different credit bureaus in this country. You can get a free credit report from each of them once a year. We're going to put it up, the names and the details of those credit bureaus in the comment section again. Just a word, we are all struggling right now. All of us are struggling. Let's not look at who's struggling more. Everybody's struggle is real. The person in the middle class suburb, the person in the upper class suburb, the person in low income housing, everybody has been affected by this lockdown. Let's not make it more difficult by being judgmental and saying, "Oh no, but that person can afford it. Oh no, she doesn't need a food parcel. She's rich. Look at that house that she lives in." Some people have paid off a house. They have no bond and they have no rent, but they literally don't have money for food or electricity. Other people don't know where their rent or their bond money is going to be coming from at the end of this month. Everyone is struggling. Let's be kind, let's be helpful, let's be empathetic. Let's just try and get through this together. Please don't make any more debt that you can't afford. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Chances are no one will die. We're all in this together. I'm hoping that you've liked what I've had to say here on the applications for your 350 Rand UIF grant, on school fees and exemption of school fees, and not paying old debt. I beg you, please share this video so that as many people can lighten their load. The more people that are informed, the more people might have a little bit extra left, might be able to do something that gives them just a little bit extra. Times are tough and we are struggling. My name is Mushfika Botha. You can come, I've got a personal Facebook page, Mushfika Botha. I've also got a page called National Debt Advisors. Please go and like that page. National Debt Advisors, I often put up a lot of information there. National Debt Advisors, please like the Facebook page. And then also you can come to www.nationaldebtadvisors.co.za. There's a lot of blogs up there. There's a lot of information in there. All the information that I've put here is there as well. We're all in this together. Let's just help each other. Let's just spread the word, spread the information. Anybody might need to hear this information right now. So please spread the word, share this video, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye.